Good morning. Yes, you're looking at my windshield. I know. I'm about to pull out. We are at the Steamboat Brake Check in British Columbia, just outside of Fort Nelson. Excuse me, just outside of Fort Nelson, yes. And I woke up to several inches of snow. So this is going to be interesting because this is a pretty steep downgrade. And we got a lot of twists and turns down here around Summit Lake and Muncho Lake. So we're going to see how this is going to how this is going to transpire. I am hoping that the plows have done their job going down the mountain. See a truck here just coming up the mountain, so maybe it's not too bad. We're about to find out. Sorry for the limited visibility, but I can't do anything about that. So here we go. Telling you, this makes me a bit nervous. I don't like it when it snows down through this part of the Alcan. Lock in my axles. About 7:30 in the morning, 7:30 Wednesday morning. Been much traffic. Of course, there's not a lot of traffic on this road to begin with. There hasn't been much at all going south, going west, northwest recently. This 60-kilometer curve up here. That's why I've been taking it slow. A lot of curves. Especially when you get down here to Summit Lake, Muncho Lake. The curves on the Alaska Highway are tight. They say 60 kilometers, which is about 35 to 37 mile an hour. You better be doing it. In the truck especially, because they're tight. That's about the maximum you want to do. be a day where I'm going to have to chain up. I don't know. We'll see what happens further down. Somebody in front of me. Glad I went on up the mountain last night. It stops at the brake check area. Probably have to chain up and get up the mountain this morning. Saw a couple of plows go by, but it's coming down so hard. I mean, you could have a plow come through here every 5 minutes. The further away you get from Fort Nelson, the more desolate it is. And I don't know how many plows are going to be working further down here. You got a couple of resort areas down through here, but they're closed in the winter. Well, most of them are closed. There's a couple of them that kind of stay open for the truckers, but most of them close for the winter. There's just not much in the way of business after the tourists are gone. So there's not much out here between, say, Fort Nelson and Watson Lake, Yukon. You don't have any phone service. You don't see a lot of traffic. A few of the trucks here and there. Here comes somebody. I can see the lights glowing. That looks like a plow, maybe. Either that or an oversized load. Got flashing lights, whatever it is. It's a plow. Good old plow. We've gotten off pretty lucky this winter up here, northern Canada and Alaska and such. We haven't had too bad of a winter, so I really can't complain. A fair Fairbanks, they're talking about maybe down as low as minus 50 Fahrenheit in the next couple of days. So it's going to be cold when I get up there. But that's the way it always works, right? When it's unusually warm in the winter, I always tell people, you don't want that. You want a regular winter, because when it's unusually warm, you can't hold Mother Nature back forever. She'll come back in a vengeance, and that's what she's done in Alaska. It's not too bad here today. It's in the low 20s Fahrenheit. That's not bad. But it'll be below zero here, I think, by tonight. Snowing all the way to Whitehorse, Yukon, so we're not going to get out of this. That's about another 400 miles, 450 miles. So we're not getting out of this anytime soon. All you can do is take your time, take it slow. Attention. I'm not super heavy. I've got a little bit of weight on. I mean, I got enough weight back there to give me some traction on my drive axles, but I'm not super heavy either. So we got a 7% grade here. Like that plow dropped some sand on the left side over there on the other side of the hill. Tell you what though, I'll take this snow over the ice down in the lower 48 any day. Although there may be some ice in Fairbanks, simply because they had that unusually warm weather the other day, and they actually got like some freezing rain, and now it's below zero, so that's all going to turn into ice. So hopefully they've done something with that on the roads by the time I get up there. I won't be up there say Wednesday. I'll make it probably to Haines Junction, Yukon today. Maybe up there tomorrow afternoon. We'll see. Friday morning at the latest. We'll see how delayed I get across here. is. It's a beautiful ride, man. It really is. It is a totally different animal in the wintertime. Totally different animal. Especially west of Fort Nelson. Once you get west of Fort Nelson, you're out of civilization for a long time. I watched the weather, or I looked at it on my phone, the weather, last night. I don't remember them saying anything about this. I usually always look at the weather before I go to bed, or before I start the day. Once you get down here, you don't have a shoulder on the road. Just really got to be careful. Not be the time to run up on some Arctic bison or some reindeer or moose. Generally don't run into several moose, but you can run into a whole herd of Arctic bison or reindeer. The Arctic bison, sometimes they're just laying on the road. make more money going to Alaska, or you should be. Most companies will pay you more money to go to Alaska. I mean, that's my job is Alaska, so I don't work for a company that, you know, just comes up here occasionally. I work out of Alaska, even though I live in Texas. Can't see the road, following someone else's tracks is a good idea to a point. But you also got to pay attention and make sure that that person did not run off the road. You do not want to follow someone else's tracks off the road. Then you're off the road. And you may say, well, if you run off the road, you would see him there. Well, maybe, unless he's gotten pulled out already. Not likely up here. Excuse me. If you run off the road up here, you're going to be here for a while. At least till another vehicle comes by and you can get them to stop and let somebody know, because like I said, you don't have a phone signal. You can let someone know somewhere. Then you got to get a tow truck out here, probably from Fort Nelson. They have a tow truck in Fort Nelson, I'm not sure. If not, in Fort St. John, hundreds of miles away. Also why companies up here like mine, every time I'm at the shop, either in Palmer, Alaska or Billings, Montana, they go over the truck, the mechanics do. You don't want to break down out here. Or if you're, especially if you're running the haul road, which is even more desolate than this. Back in the day, man, we used to drive across I-80 in Wyoming, pushing snow at our bumpers. We'd be going down the road in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden you realize that there's no other traffic on the road. That's unusual up there on the interstate. It's when you realize they've closed the road behind you. After you went past the gates. So it's just you, basically, and a few other people who got through the gates before they closed it. There's really not much you can do. You just kind of take your time and keep rolling. A lot of guys will try to stop. That's not a good idea, because a lot of times what they'll do, they'll try to take an exit, and if the snow's heavy enough, can't see the exit for the ditch, and they'll end up hitting the ditch, and then they're off in the ditch. So I always try to go by the rule of just keep going. Even if you got to drive 20 miles an hour, just keep going until you get out of it, and eventually you'll get out of it, or you'll run out of hours, then you have to stop. Wyoming would do that at night sometimes. If the snow was heavy enough, they'd close the gates, shut the interstate down, and then they would plow overnight, and then they'd reopen the road in the morning. Usually. Depending on the wind. If the wind's blowing, then it's going to blow big drifts on the road. And as quick as they plow a drift, another one would, it would come back. nobody knows how to drive in this stuff anymore because nobody does it. Not down there. I mean, obviously you do it up here because you don't have a choice. Doesn't look like it's going to end anytime soon. Actually, I don't think it's supposed to. I think it's supposed to snow all day. So we're going to be in for a long day today. I'm going to be in for a long day bother you. You just have to keep going forward. As long as you're going forward, man, and you're on the pavement, you're all right. A lot of people freak out over this kind of weather. I mean, people up here are pretty used to it, but people down in the lower 48 and such will freak out over this weather. As long as I've got some kind of visibility, I'm okay. As long as I can see. Well, it's coming down heavier now. this is where it's going to get interesting. Yes, this is where it gets real interesting. Getting gear. This is where you got to keep your wits about you. I may do this video in 2 parts because this is going to go on for a while. One good sign, I haven't seen anybody in the ditch yet, so that's good. Most guys that drive up here, they know what they're doing. Of course, even though if you know what you're doing, you can still end up in a ditch. All it takes is just one moment of either not paying attention or you get caught by surprise by a curve or something, or you go a little too far over to the right, end up dropping off into the ditch. Doesn't take much. Sometimes you get guys coming the other way who will crowd you because they're scared to death of going off in the ditch and they go a little too close to your side, and that makes you have to get over a little more. So even though you know what you're doing, there's still all kind of things that can happen. Right tire track is, that's about as far over as I want to go. Lights coming the other way. No. Anybody who tells you this kind of weather doesn't make them a bit nervous is lying. I can say I know what I'm doing, or I know how to drive in this stuff. Don't mistake that for cockiness. drive in it, but it doesn't mean it doesn't make me a bit nervous doing it. You get cocky in weather like this, you'll get yourself hurt. You just don't have room for mistakes on this road like you do, say, on an interstate or something. You don't have a shoulder. And you got these sharp curves. Sorry, I'm not talking much. I'm kind of in concentration mode. -60 washer fluid in my reservoir before I get to Fairbanks. It's going to hit -50. I've got -30 stuff in it now. It's not going to do the trick. I've got some, picked up a couple of jugs of -60 stuff earlier in the winter, because I know it hits at least -40 in Fairbanks. Tell you what, let's end this video here in a minute, and then I'll do like a part 2. Get around this curve here. You know, I really would appreciate a like. Watch the video, click a like, leave a comment, you know, be nice, especially to my fellow drivers out there. Let's try to support each other, you know. I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. All right, we'll end this one and we'll do a part 2.